Okay, this is going to be my Sonic 3 movie review. This was one of my most anticipated films of 2024, and I can say I had a great time watching this. This time around, Team Sonic encounters Shadow the Hedgehog, one of my favorite video game characters of all time. And then we've also got Jim Carrey in a dual role as Gerald Robotnik and then Robotnik that we've seen in Sonic 1 and 2. And I gotta say, this movie is a ton of fun. The action is absolutely phenomenal. Like, if you're on the fence about this movie, I would say just the action alone is worth the ticket price. It is genuinely beautiful. Like, it is like Dragon Ball Z in live action, but with hedgehogs. And the characters, they're all fun, they're all likable, they're funny, charismatic. And they have a really, really nice team dynamic this time around because they are a team right from the beginning of the movie. And in Sonic 1 and 2, we didn't really have that, so now it's nice, the team is here, it's growing, it's adding new members. This movie was just a really, really good time, but with that being said, let's go ahead and do pros and then cons, and then I'll give you my rating out of 10. My first positive is Shadow the Hedgehog. They did justice for this guy's story, and like I said, I'm a big Shadow fan, so I wouldn't say I was worried about the quality of the story on the big screen, but I definitely wanted it to be done well, and they did it. Keanu Reeves does a fantastic job voicing him. I just love Keanu's voice with this character. It just fits so well. Shadow's story is super dark, and it really parallels Sonic's story as well, and you see those parallels throughout the movie, and it makes for a very compelling story. It's also a very sad and dark story, and you really, really empathize with Shadow. He also has some of the best action and lines in this movie, like him flying around, teleporting, riding a motorcycle with a gun, just fighting Sonic. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely fantastic to see on the big screen. And I saw this movie in D-Box with the moving chairs, so it was just really, really cool. Like every punch and kick, I felt it. And yeah, Shadow just overall was done very, very well. The chemistry between all the characters was great too, and I really liked how the focus was on the actual creatures this time around. There's not that much focus on the humans, or at least the humans that people don't really care about. I would say a lot of people, they're totally fine with seeing Jim Carrey as one of the main humans in these films, but Tom and Maddie and Maddie's sister and Shamar Moore's character, I feel like a lot of people don't really care about them. And in Sonic 3, they are used pretty sparingly, which was a big improvement, I would say. Because I'm there to watch Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, not the humans. I thought the pacing was pretty good, and the VFX is top-notch. This is the third Sonic movie, and technically the fourth Sonic project, if we're counting the Knuckles Paramount Plus show. So they've had a lot of time to perfect these designs and bring them to us in the best-looking way, and I gotta say, it is done really well in Sonic 3. I would also say the story is pretty strong, more so the first act and the third act. The second act, I would say, is the weakest one for sure. But overall, I thought the story was pretty compelling, the parallels between Sonic and Shadow was good, and overall, it was just a really, really good time at the movies, like a very heartfelt, emotional, fun, entertaining story. But it wasn't perfect. Now let's move on to the negatives, and the first one I would say is that they kind of overdid the comedy in this one. I think they overdid it more so than Sonic 1 or 2. And I get it, it's technically a kid's movie or a family movie, and there's going to be some humor that not every adult is going to like. And I totally get that, but I think they overdid it. Like, there was too much of that humor. Especially in the second act, I would say that act is just super messy, and they try a little bit too hard comedy-wise, and it does not come off. And then in the third act, too, I think they overdid it a bit with Gerald and Ivo's story in the third act. It just goes a little bit too crazy. So yeah, I think they should have toned down the comedy just a little bit. And then my other negative would be the second act. That's when we see a lot more of the humans, and it just kind of goes off the rails a little bit. And there was a lot of cringe humor that just was not hitting. I wouldn't say it was a bad act, but it was definitely the worst out of the three. Then my last negative I would say is that the story didn't really make a lot of sense. I can't spoil exactly what happens in the third act, but the reasoning, I was like, I don't know about that. It kind of turned into an end of the world situation for not that great of a reason, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, overall, Sonic 3 is a very, very good movie. I would say it's probably my favorite out of the trilogy, mostly just because of Shadow. I love every single scene with Shadow, and he definitely elevated the movie. and made it my favorite Sonic movie as of right now. So I'm going to give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's really, really solid. I definitely recommend to go check this thing out in theaters. It is going to be packed. A lot of people are going to see this movie on opening weekend. And it is getting some really good reviews. It's got an 88% with the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and then a 98% audience score. So pretty much everybody that is going to see this movie is enjoying it. And I think you will too, because like I said, even just the action alone is worth the ticket price. It is so damn good. And there's a couple of post-credit scenes that had my theater screaming, like people were clapping, yelling. The Sonic franchise is very good, and it looks like it's got a very bright future ahead of it. And I can't wait to see it unfold. So there you go, guys. That's my Sonic 3 review. If you have seen it, let me know your thoughts down below. I will be doing a post-credit scene breakdown next, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.